Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Teo, back with more Ever17. If you are tuning in as this goes live, I hope you had a nice weekend. If you're tuning in from the future, I hope you had a nice cup of water between watching the last video and this one. I don't know. I had a nice cup of water recently. It was fantastic. It tasted like water. So, if your cup of water was even half as nice as my cup of water, then you're living a pretty good life. So on that water-based note, let's return to Ever17, the Out of Infinity. Oh, hey, welcome back, kid. What happened to Tsugumi? I shook my head. I told you, she's difficult, huh? This time I nodded. Tsugumi was difficult for sure. I had no idea what she was thinking. There was no point in prying anymore into Tsugumi's situation. I asked him again. So, what were you talking about? I mean, just now. The cause of the current situation. And what steps we should take from now. That's what we were discussing. Oh, the cause of the incident and steps to take, huh? Hey, do you mind filling me in on what you came up with? You can keep it simple. Sure. Well then, allow me to explain about the incident one more time. Saying that, Sora touched program image above the table. Then she said the following. 12:45 p.m. Limu was suddenly struck by a blackout. Cause is unclear. Terrorists. Immediately after that, an emergency evacuation order was issued. The cause of this was unclear as well. In any case, the evacuation of Limu by visitors and employees was initiated at this point. 12:54 p.m., the emergency doors were activated. What does that mean? That is referring to the emergency escape exits connected directly to the floating island. These are located at the very upper part of the emergency stairs. Normally, except under extreme circumstances, this door is not opened. But you're saying it was opened? Yes. What exactly does except in extreme circumstances mean? I'm not sure that I can say for sure, but... In the manual, it is written that, in the case of an emergency, it is necessary to temporarily hold visitors in the decompression chamber. Yeah, that makes sense. You don't want your visitors getting the bends. Why? But what if you have to escape in a hurry? Why do you have to stop in the decompression chamber? That actually is a good question. Like, if the options are, like, get the bends or drowned, I feel like, getting the bends is, like, slightly preferable. I don't actually know how serious getting the bends is. So, maybe that isn't preferable, maybe that'll just kill you, but I feel like it doesn't. I feel like that's not how the bends work. In order to prevent decompression sickness. Decompression sickness, that's what I was just talking about. When there's a sudden decrease in pressure, the nitrogen that is dissolved into a person's blood gasifies and can cause blood clots that interfere with circulation. I'll explain that later. For now, let me continue on this topic, alright? Sure. Anyway, what are you saying? What you were saying is that these doors that shouldn't be opened were open. Is that it? That's correct. This is only my best educated guess, but it would appear that probably one of the visitors panicked and in the confusion manually opened the emergency airtight doors. What? You can do that? That feels like a serious security, like, issue. Like, you shouldn't be able to manually open the emergency doors. I guess you probably should be able to manually open the emergency doors. Because, like, otherwise, some sort of system failure might actually just kill everyone. But, like, randos shouldn't be able to open the emergency doors. That feels like a security flaw. And then the door was not closed, but was left open. Accordingly, the roughly 6 atmosphere mixture of gas inside suddenly was released outside of the room. Uh-oh. Sora continued her explanation. 2:39 p.m. Helium, since it is lighter than oxygen and nitrogen, was released first. And internal pressure dropped to the equivalent of the external pressure of 1 atmosphere. 3:55 p.m. Water leak occurs. Limu is a structure designed based upon saturation diving specifications. Saturation diving specifications? What's that mean? It's an excellent question. I would like to know the same. To equalize the internal air pressure with, or to set it at levels above, the external water pressure, to keep the unit from being crushed by seawater. That is what it is mean. That is what it means. Do you understand? Oh, I guess that makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, I think I get it. Well, then the question becomes why the water leakage. Yeah, that's right. Couldn't it be that terrorists? Limu was made to keep the internal air pressure and external water pressure the same so it won't be crushed, right? But if the air pressure inside completely escaped, and the air pressure dropped to 1 atmosphere, then wouldn't the pressure of the seawater push in, and finally there would be a tear somewhere and seawater would come rushing in? You're almost correct. Impressive, kid. Are you sure you're suffering from amnesia? Huh? Yeah, pretty sure. I mean, you did sort of just explain it, right? And we established in the previous section that amnesia doesn't, or at least this brand of amnesia doesn't interfere with your cognitive abilities, just with your, like, long-term memory. So, the fact that he's able to put 2 and 2 together and be like, okay, so the air pressure is kept low, the air pressure is kept high to balance out the seawater, and then the air pressure dropped. I wonder if this is related to the leak. Like, that feels like a fairly intuitive logical leap. I have nothing left to add. The sudden decrease in air pressure is the major cause of this flood mishap. Subsequently, in order to minimize damage, Lemma automatically closed the watertight doors, rather. And so we're all trapped in here? Yep. Maybe it was because I had jumped into a complicated discussion, but somewhere in my head felt like it was tearing. But thinking back on Sora's explanation, there were 2 key points. 1, the reason for the complex blackout was unclear. Terrorists. 2, the reason for the drop in air pressure was that we'd sprung a leak. Huh? Hold on a second. Takeshi, who had just been listening quietly until now, spoke. So this here is 1 atmosphere of pressure? Yes, that's correct. Why do you... Does that mean that this voice alternator thing that we're wearing, that we don't need it anymore? No, that... Please keep wearing it. Why? Helium gas is mostly gone, right? Only you remained silent. Huh. It looked like she was awkwardly avoiding my gaze. Anyway, please just don't take them off. Why not? What reason is... The reason is... Well, if Sora says so, that should be good enough. I feel like this is not a, like, delicate enough question for you to need to change the subject, right? Like, I'm now very invested in why we need to keep the voice regulators on. Like, the fact that you're trying to head us away from the answer is, like, very suspicious. I'm still wearing it and I don't have any problems with it, this voice alternator. Well, that's for sure. I'd almost forgotten I was wearing it. See? Anyway, more importantly, we should be talking about what are we going to do next, or what are we going to do now, and talking about our next step. At least that's my opinion. Next step, huh? After that, we crossed our arms and started brainstorming, but we couldn't come up with even a single good idea. In the end, I guess all we can do is wait for help to come. Of course, there was no reason to expect a differing opinion. And in the meantime, we can finish off the chicken sandwiches. Nearly an hour had passed since Tsugumi had left the room. Sora had said that she was going to try to think of a plan and went back to the control room. The remaining 4 of us didn't have anything to say or do and continued to wait for contact or help from the outside. Tsugumi hasn't come back. Sarah muttered this. I wonder if it is good to leave her alone like this. I don't think there's anything good about it. Hey kid, you followed after Tsugumi a bit ago, right? Yep. She didn't say where she was going or anything. No, she didn't mention anything. Oh well. You gonna look for her? As if Yu's words were a sign, I stood up. For some reason, Yu made straight for the control room. Why the control room? You don't remember? When we gathered in the control room before, Sora said something, right? By searching for the life readings or biosigns of such and such. She said that? Yep, she for sure did say that. Weren't you listening? Maybe. That sounds vaguely familiar. I thought I was, but... So why don't we do a bioscan for life? We'll probably know where Tsugumi is right away. Bioscan. It seemed like one difficult word after another was being thrown at me. I wondered if this was part of amnesia. There were so many words and phenomena and systems and stuff here that I was at a loss. Without thinking, I let out a sigh. Incidentally, there's another thing that I had not been able to understand. Somewhere along the line, everyone had taken to calling me Kid. That random decision-making process to find a consensus on my name had ended up with me being called Kid. Well, it was better than John Mitochondria, anyway. It still was hard for me to understand. I sighed again and shaking my head followed everyone into the control room. Hey, is something wrong? Sora tilted her head, looking at us quizzically as we shuffled into the room. Well, we just didn't think we could leave Tsugumi alone like this. Yeah, so we thought that if we could get you to do another bioscan... Oh, I see, so that's it. You want me to investigate the location of Tsugumi then? Please wait a moment. A map of Limu was displayed on the monitor. It enlarged and reduced in size, slid, spun, the image switched and changed in a dizzying way. Sora? Will you really know where Tsugumi is just by running a biosearch for her? Yes? Humans are hypothermic animals, meaning that they constantly maintain a temperature of around 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. that body temperature can be detected using infrared radiation. Via this technique, we can affirm the location and number of humans in the Limu complex. See? There it is. See that uncertain bit of light in Dwight-Stock? There's no mistake, that's Tsugumi. Below that, in a room in Dwight-Stock, there were also a number of light-emitting points overlapping. I figured that was probably a control room. Huh? What is... Just then I noticed something strange. In a corner of the monitor, life reading 7 was displayed in small letters. Oh, here we go. This is what I was going on about in the last video, I think. Where I was like, wait a minute, there's only 6 people, but the opening theme had life reading 7 displayed prominently in one of the cuts. So, like, what's up with that? And apparently that plot point is getting brought up now. I still maintain my theory that, like, the 7th person is the small child with pink hair. But other than the fact that she, like, has a sprite, I don't have any sort of meaningful reasoning to go off of that. Like, she's a character that's been introduced. It wouldn't make sense for someone with, like, as prominent a role as she has had up until now to just not show up again. What is it? Isn't there something strange about this number? See, I pointed to the corner of the monitor. Life readings, 7. 7? 7? 7? What? There should have been a total of 6 people trapped in Limu. You, Sarah, Sora, Tsugumi, Takeshi, and me. Yet, the main computer Lemme was indicating that there were 7 people. What in the world? And then... Wait, what? Are we all robots or something? Are we lizard people? Oh, that would explain why our heat signatures are changing so much. We're all lizard people. That's the plot twist. Life readings 5. Life reading 7. Life reading 6. Does it have, like, 576, 576? Huh, I wonder if there's, like, a range limitation? And people are, like, bouncing in and out of the max range? The numbers change by the second. Or, like, people going, like, outside the complex. I don't know much about water pressure, but that seems like a bad idea. So I'm gonna assume that that's not the case. But, like, that would make some degree of sense, right? If it's checking the number of life readings inside Limu, then if people are leaving and entering Limu, then that's the only real reason I can see for the numbers going up and down. And always the number 6 plus or minus 1. Why is this happening? Flustered and out of character, Zara was busily operating the console. But the numbers continued to fluctuate and there was no sign that they would stop. I shifted my eyes to the points of light on the map. And even if the life reading numbers changed, the points of light didn't increase or decrease. If the number really is 7, then that would mean that there is another person here that didn't get out in time. Yeah, assuming that 7 is the right number. Hold on, everybody. Calm down. For a while, I watched the numbers switch. Finally, it stopped on the number 6. Life readings 6. What? I'm super confused. Huh? It stopped on 6. It's probably broken or something. That is a dangerous assumption to make. No, it shouldn't be. Anyway, it looks like it settled on 6. So that's probably the right number, right? Makes sense. Ah, they're in the air ducts. Thinking about it, it's hard to imagine anyone else is here. But what, kid? We looked all over Limu. And we didn't meet anyone. Ah, but the chicken sandwiches. The chicken sandwiches were alive all along. That's true, but... Well, either way, it's something we can solve by walking around the complex, right? But more importantly is securing Tsugumi. Maybe if people are, like, too close to each other, it, like, doesn't recognize them as multiple people? It's like... I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Like, I thought I was so clever for a moment, and then I realized that it doesn't actually change anything. Like, it doesn't make sense to go below 6. Like, we have 5 people accounted for in this room, right? And assuming that none of them were, like, going and hugging or anything, then the number shouldn't be going below 6. Because even if the 2 other people in the complex are, I don't know, hugging and then unhugging, the number should be fluctuating between 6 and 7. There shouldn't be any reason for it to go down to 5. So, probably either both of the other people on the scan, which are, again, I'm under the assumption that the other 2 people that it's referring to are Tsugumi and the pink-haired girl, whose name I have conveniently forgotten. Wait, also, does life readings count the dog? Because, like, the dog is, like, it has a heat signature, right? Like, it's a warm-blooded animal. Does the dog count? Because Because if we're counting the dog, then we're up to 8. And the number never went up to 8, so, like, now I'm super confused. Securing? You mean saving? Saving is removing an object from danger. Securing is removing danger itself. Is Tsugumi really that dangerous? Oh, that's right. I haven't told Sarah, you, and all about everything and that crazy girl, have I? No. No. Alright. It's time to think of a way of securing Tsugumi. Are you ready? We climbed the emergency stairs to the floor where Tsugumi was. Only Sora remained in the control room, thinking of ways to escape, trying to re-establish communications, rechecking the complex, and trying to get other systems that were down back online. We arrived at Zweigstock. And when we did, a voice came from the speaker above the corridor. Right now, Tsugumi seems to be in the security office. I mean, she can hear you too, right? I figured Sora was using the complex intercom system to announce Tsugumi's location. Got it. The security office, huh? Takeshi said this toward the ceiling. On the way to the office, Yu said, "Hey, Takeshi, I've got an idea." I think this kind of thing is, well, better with just girls. Just girls? I think just Mayo and I should go. That way it might be easier to talk to Tsugumi. Mayo, you're okay with that, yeah? Sure, I'm fine with that. Why can't Takeshi and I come along? This kind of thing gets messy when there are guys around. 4 against 1 triggers fear, you know? Fight or flight reactions. That and, let's call it female intuition. Intuition? I've got a hunch that Mayo and I can fix this misunderstanding. Misunderstanding, huh? That's what it is, isn't it? We haven't done anything to make her angry, so... Well, that's true. It might be better to just let the 2 girls go instead of going in a group. For some reason, I didn't have any confidence in my ability to get Tsugumi to open up to us, and I was sure that type of thing wasn't one of Takeshi's strong points either. Then I guess we'll leave it up to you. So with that, Yu and Sarah headed to the security office. Takeshi and I were left in the middle of the corridor, at a loss of what to do. So, what now? What do you say? Want to wait in front of the security office? I don't think that would accomplish anything, but... Then what? I don't know. For now, we can take a look around. I've had enough of that. Well, I haven't. You, Sarah, and I walked so much we just about wore holes in our shoes. Whitestock and Drightstock, everything. In that case, why don't we give the merry-go-round a shot? I don't know, 2 guys in a merry-go-round sounds kinda... Yeah... Well, anyway, I've decided to take a look around inside Limu. Takeshi Argwen. I'm the kind of guy that just has to see everything with his own 2 eyes. So Takeshi and I split up to search. We agreed to meet up at 9:30 p.m. We were to meet in front of the security office. I mean, presumably negotiations can't take that long, right? Like, they go in, they're like, hey, we're not... If you're mad at us, please tell us why so we can rectify the situation, and congratulations, that took 15 seconds. Limu has 3 layers below the ocean's surface. Erstboden, Zweigstock, Drightstock. There are 17 meters between each floor. If you go down a floor, then you go 17 meters or 51 feet deeper. Thus, the 3rd floor, Drightstock, is located at 51 meters or 103 feet depth. With all this time on my hands, I visited Sora in the control room. Sora politely and in an easy-to-understand way explained to me about Limu, which I knew almost nothing. Outside of Dright is a total of 6 atmospheres of pressure, 5 atmospheres water pressure, and 1 atmosphere air pressure. Even if hypothetically, you were to suddenly go out into the ocean from Dright, your lungs would be crushed to about 1/6 of their size, and approximately 5/6 of your lungs would be flooded. You would likely die in a matter of minutes. Alright, so we've, confirmed my theory that going outside of the complex is a real bad idea. So we've more or less shot down my theory that people are, like, entering and leaving, like, horizontally. Like, people might be entering and leaving vertically. They're, like, unlocking the doors or something, I don't know. But horizontally sounds like a no-go. Can I ask a question? Go ahead. How much pressure exactly is 5 atmospheres of water pressure? It is hard to imagine. 1 atmosphere is about 1 kilogram of weight per square centimeter. The difference in pressure inside and outside of Limu is 5 atmospheres, or a multiple of 5. Please think of it as 5 kilograms, or around 11 pounds of weight per square inch. 5 kilograms of weight per square inch. So for each meter, it would be 100 times 100, or 50 tons? That's correct. But what about those people that skin dive? They can dive to depths of about 90 feet, right? The current world record for freediving is 150 meters, or around 450 feet. With an aqualing and pauses along the way, probably just about anyone can dive to 105 feet. However, the air sent to your lungs would be highly pressurized gas. But with skin diving, they don't stop to breathe along the way. Amateurs can't make it past 65 feet. Any deeper than that requires intensive training. Wow, is that right? And there's one other important thing. Even if you can withstand the water pressure, could you really swim the 167 feet to the surface? 51 meters? How high is that, 51 meters? Like skyscrapery. Imagine a 15-story building. Or 5 3-story school buildings stacked on top of each other. 5 schools stacked? No way, I couldn't swim that. Well, then how about a building with 10 stories? A depth of 34 meters, or just over 100 feet. That's the depth of Zweitstock. 34 meters, huh? I don't know. Still sounds like kind of a bad time. Like, under ideal circumstances horizontally, that, like, on the surface of the water, that probably wouldn't be too bad. Like, that sounds pretty doable. But vertically, with, like, the water pressure and whatnot, if it's just asking about, like, the ability to swim that far, even I might be able to handle that. Let's be confident. Well, somehow I think I could. What? You'd have to swim it, you know. This isn't walking or running. But 34 meters or 102 feet. That's like right over there. Well, I would float. Actually, I think it would be easier than climbing the distance on land. You don't have any idea how severe water pressure is at 34 meters depth, do you, kid? Huh? Now, hold on just a minute. Just a second ago, you were talking about even if one could endure the water pressure. That type of hypothetical talk is meaningless. You can't discuss this problem without water pressure. And then your question was disingenuous. Like, you can't ask us if, like, no, you ask us a hypothetical, right? And then we answer the hypothetical, and then you're like, yeah, but that doesn't correspond to the real-life situation. Like, don't ask us the hypothetical in the first place, then. But, Sora, you said... Listen, try to imagine it just one more time. I mean, yes, we get the idea, but that's not the question you asked. You're 102 feet deep. Could you swim to the top of a 10-floor building? There was a severe edge to Sora's way of putting it. I felt like there was something of a warning contained within her words. Sora, you don't really think that I would try to break out of Zweitstock and swim to freedom, do you? You wouldn't, would you? No way. Why would I do anything that reckless and crazy? I mean, if the alternative is starving to death, it starts looking a lot more attractive. Well, I should hope not. Because, like, eventually we're gonna run out of chicken sandwiches, right? It's fine, I understand. Right now, all we can do is patiently wait for help, right? That's right. Saying that, Sora gave a big nod. As I was so involved in my chat with Sora, I'd missed the appointed meeting time. Wow, what a dumbass. I left the control room and headed toward the meeting point. In front of the security office. But Takeshi wasn't there. Hey, Takeshi! He got bored of waiting for you. That's what you get for being late. I tried to call out to him, but there was no reply. Glancing at the security office, I noticed that the door was wide open. I decided to take a peek in the room. And there were bodies everywhere. No one was there. Oh, well, that's boring. Not you, Sarah, nor Tsugumi. Hey, Sora! Sora, everybody! Where are you? I looked up at the bare ceiling and called out. I figured Sora would be in the control room monitoring me. But apparently she wasn't. There were no sounds from the speakers on the ceiling. I wonder what I should do, I thought as I wandered walking through the corridors. First, I don't have a good... Wait, where are the chicken sandwiches? Was that Jellyfish Gondola? No, that was... I can't remember. I also probably shouldn't be basing this decision based off of, like, where the chicken sandwiches are. Like, we were just in the control room, so that seems boring. Let's go on that merry-go-round ride with Takeshi. The merry-go-round. Several dozen dolphins were connected in a circle. There were no horses, no carriages, and there were no children's voices. And the blue ocean was just one paneling of a wall away. We were all trapped in this place. Thinking this, it was hard to believe that the scenery spreading before me was reality. What am I doing here? That thought popped into my mind. What I was experiencing right now seemed much more bizarre to me than the fact that I'd lost my memory. I mean, they're both pretty bizarre, right? Like, these are not sort of standard, day-to-day experiences. In other words, my doubts about the past were less than my sense of unease about the present. I was overcome by a sense that my existence was floating away. Hey, it's a crazy blonde. Hey, kid. Are you spacing out there? Yu is peeking out at me from the shadow of a rock. Not exactly. Really? That reminds me, so how are things with Tsugumi? Well, in a nutshell, it was like we whiffed. What do you mean? We started with light conversation about how old she was, where she lived, if she was hungry. We were biding our time waiting for the right pitch. Ultimately, Mayo asked her straight out, "Why are you so mad?" And what did she say? I said we whiffed, right? It was like we waited and waited for a good pitch, but we didn't get anything, so we swung. So it was a big 0? I don't know if it was a 0, but we sure didn't hit a home run. All we can do is wait for her to get careless and throw the right pitch. Get her out. You're stretching this metaphor a little bit thin. No, get a hit. I just wanted to get a sense, to feel what she's all about. Reasons aside, there's just something not pleasant about being disliked. Saying that, you started walking. She got on the platform of the merry-go-round and petted the fin of a dolphin. I followed after you and jumped on the back of a dolphin. Kid, incidentally, what were you doing here? I was looking for everyone. When I went to the security office, no one was there. What about you? What were you doing? I was just hanging around this area, near the merry-go-round. I just wanted to be alone, so... I see, so we're the assholes. Alone? You cast a lonely look at the dolphin as she patted its smooth skin. Hey, why didn't this dolphin move? Probably because it's not turned on. There should be an operating panel around somewhere. You think if we turn it on, then the dolphin will move? Yeah, probably. You can swim in the ocean and catch fish and stuff? What? I was just thinking. Because inside Limu there are dolphins and whales and fish and clams and octopus. There are even jellyfish and sea anemones, but none of them are real living creatures. Of course not. They were all made by people. I wonder. For example, deep in a forest it would be harder to find something that is not alive than something that is, right? There are trees and grass, birds and bugs, soil and little living creatures inside of it. Everything is alive. But how about here? The only thing that is alive in this vast space is us. And they call this an underwater paradise? A utopia? So in this utopia, living things are outnumbered by non-living things. Which in a way means we are. We are intruders in this world of the dead. You petted the dolphin. That's a little bit heavy. And also, like, a little bit nonsensical. Like, obviously it's not living stuff. It's man-made, right? Like, it's an amusement park, it's not an aquarium. I don't know where she's going with this. The dolphin's deformed plastic smile didn't move at all. A steel rod was stuck into its belly. You hate Limu, you? Well, it's hard to say. It's not that I like or dislike it. But you liked it enough to start working here, right? No. No, you didn't? No. Well, then why... My question, you tilted her head. Then she just clammed up and started wandering around one of the dolphins. Finally, her feet stopped and you quietly faced me. I'm looking for something important. Something important? A clue about my father. Actually, my father worked in the Research and Development Division of Limu. Research and Development? I don't know the details. It seems like my father made the Lemma program. Lemma? Wasn't that Limu's central computer? Yeah. Of course, he didn't do it alone. He was one of the members involved in developing the project. Huh? Is that so? What do you mean by clue? My father disappeared one day. What? He just went missing. When? He's been missing as long as I can remember. It was when I was 1 year old, 17 years ago. So you don't remember your father? No. I've only seen pictures and movies of him. I don't really have any memories. Everything I just told you, I heard from my mother. But why? Why did he disappear? If I knew that, I wouldn't have come here. What do you mean? The last time my father was seen was in Limu. So I thought that if I came here, maybe I would find some clue about my father. It seems like my mom has already given up, so I can't count on her. My mom has convinced herself that my dad is dead. The word dead had a heavy ring to it. You looked straight at me as her eyes watered. But, I believe that he's alive somewhere. He has to be. My father just went missing, and his remains were never found. I couldn't find any words. I didn't know what to say to her. She might have been waiting for me to say something like, "You're right, he's probably alive somewhere." But I couldn't say it. I just nodded and couldn't even look back into her eyes. Finally, we promised to meet later in the conference room and split up. I thought I would go somewhere else. Yeah, I don't know, 17 years feels like a while. Like, odds he's still alive are not super great. Where do I want to go? Gondola. I love gondolas. Next, I went to the jellyfish gondola. Tsugumi was there. Uh-oh. We're gonna get chewed out again. Her back was to me, and she was looking at the entrance. I called out to her loudly. "Wanna ride the gondola?" Tsugumi turned to look at me, but she immediately turned her heel and walked away. Damn it. We were so close. Wait a minute. I already told you. I said don't ever talk to me again. But... Tsugumi started walking again. Hey, I said wait! What is it? You're so irritating. You meant you and Sarah, right? So what? Why didn't you listen to them? It's none of your business. Is that why you stopped me? No. The real reason is something else. Before you said something about those guys or something, right? What did you mean by that? Tsugumi stared at me intently. She narrowed her eyes almost as if appraising me. Intimidated by her intense glare, my body stiffened and I swallowed. What is with you? I don't know. I wish I did know. Remember, kids, the silence is only awkward if you let it be. Fine. Well, if you aren't lying, then I'll warn you about one thing. Those guys, they're probably using you. Using me? So who do you mean when you say those guys? I can't say more than that. I still don't trust you 100% yet. And I don't want you trusting me either. Anyway, look after yourself. If something happens, I'm not going to help you. Saying only that, Tsugumi turned and left. Having no idea what just happened, I simply stood there. I thought I would go somewhere else. Yep, Tsugumi has now, in my mind, firmly drifted in the so suspicious she can't actually be up to anything camp. Like, her level of suspicion is too high for her to plausibly be, like, actually an antagonist. Let's just do them in order now. I've lost motivation to think of reasons to go to any particular place. Or rather, like, I can't think of any particular reason to choose one over the other here, so... Top to bottom we'll go. The warehouse. I wound up in front of the warehouse. I don't expect anyone is here, but... What's that? The water door at the entrance was slightly open. That's not good. I was sure it was closed when I had come by here with you and everyone. Is anyone there? I softly opened the door. Ah! Oh, Sarah. Sarah was inside. She was sitting on top of a pile of boxes. I didn't know if I'd surprised her, but her face seemed to stiffen. Oh, kid, don't scare me like that. Sorry. After shooting me a slight glare, Sarah stuck her hands in her pockets and dropped to the floor. But what are you doing here? Oh, I just wanted some time alone. Wow, we're like 3 for 3 on pissing off people by walking in random rooms. We're so good at this game. Alone? You had said almost the same thing. What happened with Tsugumi? Nothing really. Well, you seem pretty down. In the end, she didn't tell us anything. We were just running in circles, and it wore me out. I see. Feminine intuition aside, not even the two girls had been able to get through to her, even though there was no apparent reason for Tsugumi to hold a grudge. What could Tsugumi have been so angry with us about? Apologies. What could Tsugumi have been so angry with us about? It was a weird sneeze. It didn't sound like a sneeze. It sounded like a cough. Perhaps there's something wrong with me. Perhaps I'm going to die. Finally, we promised to meet up later in the conference room and split up. I thought I would go somewhere else. Control room. Let's see what Sora's up to. I went to the control room again. What's up? Any progress? Unfortunately, no. It appears that even Lemma is not able to accurately gauge the situation. This is something that would normally be unthinkable. Oh, that reminds me. Sora, did you know? No? Know what? That Yu's father made Lemma. Huh? Is that right? That's news to me. Man, I can already, like... The fact that there are lines in subsequent choices here that, link back to previous choices I made means that, getting all the endings is going to be a nightmare. I'm not gonna lie, I'm definitely going to be using a guide to get all the endings, because doing this manually is gonna be miserable. Of course, he didn't make it all by himself. She said her dad was a member of the development project team. Is that right? It's very interesting. By the way, Why is Lemma called Lemma? Oh, haven't I told you? No, I haven't heard. Lemma's proper name is Lieblich Medizin Multiverhen Intelligent Hern System. Actually indicates it. What was that? Can you give it to me one more time? Lieblich Medizin Multiverfahren Intelligent Hern System. Actually indicates it. What language is that? I mean, I assume German, because everything else has been in German. It's German. Ah, I'm so good at this game. What does it mean? The first part, Lieblich Medizin, indicates the name of a pharmaceutical company. Wait, seriously? That's boring. The bit after that means something along the lines of Parallel Processing Artificial Intelligence System. The first letter of each word created the acronym LEMMA, so they called the system LEMMA. Uh-huh, I see. Hey, there are two things I wanted to ask you. What might they be? That Lieblich, what was it again? Lieblich Medicine. In Japan, it is known as Lieblich Pharmaceuticals. So what is the relationship between Lieblich and Limu? The company managing this theme park is called Limu, and the largest stockholder is Lieblich Medicine. I see. So essentially, I guess that Lieblich has the right to say whatever happens at Limu. I suppose that's a reasonable interpretation. The origin of the name of this theme park. The official line is that it was named after the phantom or lost continent Lemuria. But actually I've heard that it's just a combination of the first letters of Lieblich Medicine and Utopia. Or Utopia. Utopia means utopia. Oh, I see. In other words, Lieblich created this place to be a dreamlike utopia. That's kind of a ambitious goal for a theme park. So that is why they named it that. A utopia, huh? And what was your second question? Well, it's about German. German? Yeah. You said that Lemma's official name is German, right? And all around Lemma there are German signs and stuff. I wondered why German. Hey, you and me both, dude. That's because Lieblich Pharmaceutical is a joint venture between a Japanese and a German company. Its headquarters are in Frankfurt, and the majority of officials are German. So that's why it's all in German. So Lieblich Pharmaceutical had a pretty strong relationship with Limu then. Oh. Since I'm asking, can I ask one more thing? Go ahead. Why did Lieblich Pharmaceutical want to run a theme park anyhow? I mean, we're talking about Lieblich Pharmaceutical. They make medicine, right? That doesn't seem to have anything to do with a theme park. And this is right in the middle of the ocean, right? Why go to all the trouble of... Because... I'm sorry. I can't answer that question. Uh-oh, trade secrets. What? Why not? It is confidential information. Confidential? What in the... Who could I possibly tell? I can't imagine that a kid like me finding out could cause any damage. Are you familiar with the concept of an NDA? Really can't tell, little old me? Sora had gone quiet and wasn't answering. Okay, I understand. Well, just forget about it. I'm really sorry. It's alright, you don't have to apologize. You have to keep the secret as part of your job, right? There's nothing you can do about it. Remember, kids, the silence is only awkward if you let it be. Alright, I'll tell you one thing. Limu does not rely on energy provided from this complex, but generates all of its energy in this does not rely on energy provided from the outside, but generates all of its energy in this complex. Okay, so it has a generator. And directly underneath us, at a depth of 119 meters, or 357 feet, is the seafloor. There's a thermal vent on the surface of the seafloor, where water several hundred degrees is pumped out and heat from it is used to operate generators. I waited for the rest of the explanation, but Sora didn't say anything more. And? What does that have to do with what we were just talking about? Sora let the question go. Do you mind if I get back to work? Oh, sorry to bother you. I gave up and left. Limu was controlled by a Japanese-German joint venture called Lieblich Pharmaceutical. Why would they build a theme park here? And what could it have to do with the fact that they generated their own energy? I left with this mystery spinning in my mind. I thought I would go somewhere else. Well, only one option left. Oh, Takeshi! I was surprised upon returning to the security office. Takeshi was there. I wonder what he's up to. He had both hands on the operating panel and was staring at the monitor intently. I was about to call out to him, but I hesitated. The gaze that Takeshi had leveled on the monitor. It was so intense that it made my spine tingle. Ah, is Takeshi the terrorist? He had the eyes of a hawk scouring the horizon for prey. Takeshi? I finally got out the words. Takeshi slowly looked back at me. Hey, kid, you finally made it! Beat from waiting. The look on Takeshi's face was his normal old goofy expression. I felt relieved. What were you doing? You looked so intense it was scary. Huh? Scary? Yeah, just now. You looked scary. Kind of rude. What's so scary about my face? It's different now, but before it was scary. And how about you show me how scary it was? Huh? I think your face was kinda like this, glaring at the monitor. I tried to mimic how Takeshi had looked by using my fingers to pull at both of my eyes. That's racist. Yeah, that's not scary at all. Don't try to pretend it was nothing. Oh, sorry, I was looking for you. For me? Because you didn't show up forever. I thought I'd call you on the complex intercom system. I figured you were probably lost somewhere and crying yourself silly. What are you talking about? I was about to say the same thing to you. You weren't here at the time we set up. Where have you been until now? Stupid. You're the one that wasn't here, right? You're totally late. Sorry about that. But you could have waited a little longer. Hey, I'm a busy guy. I'm not here to look after you. Okay, it was 5 minutes, and, like, realistically, what else are you doing with your life right now? Busy? You? Yep, I'm horribly busy. Liar. Until a while ago, we were wasting time together. Remember, kids, the silence is only awkward if you let it be. Hey, can we stop this meaningless conversation? Yeah, it is kind of stupid. Isn't it? We both laughed wryly. I dissolved any tension that was in the atmosphere. I didn't get it, but at some point I began to feel comfortable with him. I thought there was something about him, something like me maybe. So how's your condition coming along? Any changes? Saying that, Takeshi sat down in a chair. His eyes were at the same height as mine. Any changes? You mean my memory? Takeshi nodded. I shook my head. I see. Well, don't force it. It's like Sora said. Memory loss can heal at just the slightest thing. Easy for you to say. It's not your problem. Sure, it's not my problem. You say it like you've seen it happen. Well, I've been around the block a few times. What's that supposed to mean? Sure, tell me about it. And? I didn't feel like crying. Well, for now, why don't you just try to remember things starting with stuff familiar to you? Yeah, things like your birthday. My birthday. Huh? What's wrong? Hey, what year is it? You forgot that, too? Yeah. It's 2000... what year is it? Saying that, Takeshi fished his entrance ticket stub from his pocket. Oh, that's right. 2017. Hey, it is! That's funny. Takeshi crumpled the stub back up and pushed it back into his pocket. 2017. Is there something about it? Yeah, kind of. Kind of. I thought that if I heard the year, then I might be able to at least remember my birthday. I see. Come to think of it, you don't even know how old you are, huh? No. By the looks of it, I'd say you're not a day over 42. What?! I'm kidding! Relax. There's no way. You're probably in the neighborhood of 14 or 15. If you are 18, then you've got a baby face. 14 or 15, huh? I muttered this. Well, I'm getting out of here. Actually, I haven't finished looking around. Oh, hey, Takeshi. It seems like everyone is scattered around all over right now. Yeah? We'll have to arrange to meet somewhere sooner or later. I think the conference room would be good. Got it. If I see the others, then I'll give them a word. Takeshi left. I also decided to go somewhere else. But I've run out of places to go. On the way down the corridor, I noticed a sound. I looked for the source of the sound. Someone was crossing the corridor where it came to a T up ahead. A girl? It was a girl that I had never seen before. I followed after her as if I were being pulled in by her. Hey, wait, you there! The girl went into the infirmary. No one was inside. I carefully went deeper into the room. Then I noticed a square space cut out. I peeked inside. Down below, a small lift was stopped. It looked like there was another room directly below the infirmary. So if I remember correctly, infirmary was on the bottom floor? Is that right? That sounds correctish, but I'm not 100% sure. I pushed the button calling the lift and hopped in. In the darkness, a girl sat on a bed. Hey, I was right! It's the pink-haired girl. Hello, pink-haired girl. I was at a loss for words. I didn't know where to start. She just stared at me. It's, alright. Don't worry. Everything's alright. She didn't answer. Anyway, let's go where everyone else is. Everybody? Yeah, it's not just me. There are lots of other people. Help? Did you come to help? Yeah, that's right. This music is very ominous. I feel like something horrible is about to happen. But it's probably impossible. Huh? There is no way out anymore. The girl's eyes were sad and moist. Wait, is she the terrorist? I keep, like, assuming the people... I keep, like, wondering if people are the terrorist, and I don't even know if there is a terrorist yet. Right? Like, it could have been an accident. Like, it's entirely possible. Why do you say that? We'll be fine. A rescue team should be here any time. Liar. It's not a lie. The people that escaped know that we're here. Someone will come for sure. Why do you say that? Because... Then suddenly a shocked look appeared on the girl's face as her eyes focused behind me. Uh-oh. We're gonna get bopped on the head by the terrorist. I followed her gaze. On the other side of the door was Takeshi peeking in. Uh-oh. Who are you talking to? Takeshi, what great timing. It seems like this girl here didn't get out either. Girl? What girl? There's nobody there. Huh? I looked back. The girl had vanished and there was no sign that anyone had been sitting where she had been. What? Alright, I'm super confused. Impossible. Hey, cut it out, will you? You get tired of memory loss and are working on hallucination now? You're worse off than we thought. No, I'm not seeing things. There was a girl here. She was sitting on this bed. Listen, kid. So, is she under the bed? Is there another way out of the room? Like, those seem like the two most plausible explanations. Like, there is the third explanation of our protagonist here is actually just going batshit, but... In a previous scene, Takeshi has interacted with this girl, right? So we've established that she at least exists. So I think protagonist going crazy is probably the least likely of the three explanations. The fact that the girl immediately hid when she saw Takeshi is interesting, though, because as far as we know, the only times that she's interacted with Takeshi are in the initial pressurization room where she tells him the awful joke. And that's pretty much the only time she interacts with him at any length. So there's no compelling reason for her to be afraid of him, unless there was, like, either some scene that happened off-screen where she sees him doing terroristy things. Because at this point, I'm sort of suspicious of Takeshi, like, unironically. Either that, or there is some sort of time skip at some point. And I don't see a great place to slot that. Just because sort of all of the characters showed up sort of intermittently before the accident. And so even if we... Like, the most likely place to put it... like, the most plausible place to put a time skip is when the protagonist is passed out in the infirmary, right? But I don't know, it just feels like there hasn't really been any foreshadowing towards that. But that would certainly give a window for Takeshi to do dubious-ass things that pink-haired girl would see and is now suspicious of him. But, like, that seems like the reason she would have to immediately leave the room. Either that or she was, like... She did call us a liar, right? So she doesn't trust us that much, but she at least trusted us enough to not immediately run off when she saw us. So, the fact that she did presumably immediately run off when she saw Takeshi presumably means that she is more scared of him than she is of us. So that's more or less what I'm gathering from this scene here. What? Are you hungry? Oh, chicken sandwiches. Hungry? Who cares about that right now? There's a girl here. A girl, I tell you. I know. There's a girl there. I heard you. You don't get it at all. Alright. I'll listen to the whole story later. But nothing. You're gonna piss me off if you keep this up. Everyone is waiting for you to eat together. Well then, what are we gonna do about this girl? I'm sure the girl is probably starving too. Also, the fact that, like, there's this hidden room in the back of the infirmary that, like, the protagonist didn't know about until just now, and Takeshi is, like, in here 30 seconds after we are, means that he's probably either following us or watching us on the monitors, right? Like, that was a short enough time window between the two of us showing up here that it doesn't feel like a coincidence. Like, I am becoming more and more suspicious of Takeshi as the story progresses. I'm sure the girl is probably starving too. Oh man, you've completely lost it. Not crazy. There was a girl right here. In the end, I couldn't get Takeshi to listen to me. Although, functioning under the assumption that Takeshi is an antagonist here, like, what's the motivation for trying so hard to convince us that we're off our rocker? Like, either he doesn't know about the girl, which is plausible, or he's, like, gaslighting us, right? And I'm curious what the motivation there is. Because the protagonist clearly has some sort of use in the overarching scheming that is going on. Like, I don't yet have, like, a clear theory as to what like, the end game of the various characters are that, like, have some sort of stake other than just trying to get out. But it feels like there is some end game other than just escape for some percent of the characters. Otherwise, Tsugumi's, like, message to us that people are using us doesn't make any sense, right? Because if everyone's motive is just escape the facility, then it doesn't matter if people are using us because they have the same objective we do. So that means somebody's objective, assuming Tsugumi isn't also messing with us, somebody has an objective that is divorced from simply escaping. And assuming that that person with that objective is Takeshi, what could be the purpose of gaslighting us here, right? Like, that's the question we have to ask ourselves. And I just don't think I have enough information to properly figure out what anyone's overarching motive is. Like, so far, the only sort of interesting pieces of information I have about this, the sort of setting, are that there's this supercomputer in the basement, but nobody seemed that impressed by the supercomputer, so that leads me to believe that the supercomputer isn't that far outside of the sort of range that computers get. Like, it's not like a MacGuffin-type supercomputer where it's like, oh, the computer is, you know, intelligent, it's like real AI, and we need to control it, or blah, blah, blah. It feels like it's just a powerful computer, right? So the only sort of interesting part about the setting that has sort of caught my eye so far is the part about the vents and the way the theme park powers itself. But I'm still not sure what, like, in what capacity that's relevant. Like, cool, it's cheap energy, but on the other hand, like, I don't know how that's abusable. Like, I don't understand how that can be the basis for a motive. But I'm sure it'll all become clear in time. I think I just don't have quite enough pieces of the puzzle to start making clear sort of analyses yet. In the end, I couldn't get Takeshi to listen to me. Before going into the conference room, I peeked into the control room. The bioscan figure was eating at my mind. Life readings, 5. The number had dropped from 6 to 5. Oh! Maybe that room that the girl was in just now is outside of the sort of scan range. Because if I'm remembering correctly, and the infirmary is on the 3rd floor, then saying that there's a room under the infirmary means that it's, like, physically lower than the rest of the complex, right? So that's, like, very plausibly outside of the scan range. So that would imply that whenever the reading goes down to 5, then 2 people are in that room. So if that's the case, then that would mean that probably Tsugumi and pink-haired girl are either in cahoots or at least have been interacting with each other. Because I think the 5 non-Tsugumi characters were all together at the time we were looking at the readings, like, in this room, right? Although, an interesting part to note about the potential Tsugumi pink-haired girl partnership, assuming that this theory of mine is correct, is that the pink-haired girl seems much less, I want to say, forward than Tsugumi has been, which makes me think that it's not sort of a, equal partnership that's going on, and probably not even a partnership at all. Just Tsugumi, like, saying hi or trying to figure out, like, what role the pink-haired girl has in this whole conundrum. It's, like, entirely plausible that the pink-haired girl is just another victim, but that, A, wouldn't explain why she seems to be so scared of Takeshi, and B, doesn't explain why she said we were lying when we said that help was coming, right? She seemed very adamant that there was no way out, and that no one was coming to save us, which means she has information that we don't. And I don't know what that information is, but it's clearly information related to sort of the overall situation we're in. So I'm sort of interested to see when she's going to pop up again, because it's likely that the next time she pops up, some amount of that information will come to light. The number had dropped from 6 to 5. Everyone was in the conference room. There were fried chicken sandwiches and drinks secured from the sandwich shop for everyone. Ah, chicken sandwiches. Oh, baby. Also, does that mean that the life reading thing is on a delay? Because at the top, at like the... Oh, no, never mind. I was about to say, that makes the most sense if the life reading thing is on delay, because there would have been 5 people inside the complex at the time that it was just us and the pink-haired girl in the hidden room. But if Tsugumi is absent right now, as it says right on the screen, then it's possible that she's in the secret room with the pink-haired girl again. Again, all assuming that my theory about the room is correct. I wondered where she had gone, but more than that, I was worried about her. I told everyone about the girl, but everyone just laughed and no one listened. No one else had seen the girl. Then I remembered the bioscan figure. 7. That girl was probably person number 7. Yep, that seems like a reasonable... I mean, that's sort of the conclusion I arrived at as well. I'm a little bit surprised that we're not getting up to 8, or like that the girl doesn't have the dog with her, because like so much was made of the fact that she was carrying the dog around earlier. Like in every scene she was in, it specifically called out the dog, right? Like when we were in the compression chamber, she was holding the dog. And when she was biting the lemur costume person's tail. Oh, that's interesting. The fact that she was messing with the person in the lemur costume, who is presumably originally also Tsugumi, although that's not a definite, adds credence to the idea that she and Tsugumi at least know each other in some capacity. But the number had been 5 and 6 as well. What could it mean? The image of the girl had been burned into my mind and there was no getting away from it. I wondered if it was, like Takeshi said, a hallucination. If not, then a ghost? That was crazy. I shook my head at my own silliness. Maybe I was losing it. Something had to be wrong with me. I needed to calm down, collect myself. While I thought this, I flipped up the tab on a can of cola. At first I didn't know what had happened. I licked the liquid around my lips. It was sweet. It seemed as if the cola had exploded into my face. Foo. Wait, did they like shake the can? How rude. Everyone exploded in a chorus of laughter. Hey, what the heck are you doing, kid? You said this laughing. Those cans contain pop made with a special gas, so they are made at 8. They're made at 6 atmospheres. Oh, that's funny. But right now we're at 1 atmosphere, right? So if you don't hold it down when you open... If you don't hold it down when you open it, the carbonation inside explodes. Wait, how does holding it down prevent that? As she laughed, Sarah took out a handkerchief. I took it and wiped my face. Yeah, that's pretty funny. I was enveloped in laughter. Without noticing, I'd forgotten about everything that had been weighing on my mind. Almost an hour had passed. No help had come. There was no contact. The people on the floating island should have known that we were all trapped down here. So why didn't anyone come? Even if they couldn't open the watertight doors, there should be divers that could tap on the glass window or something. Everyone, I think it is best that we go to sleep this evening. Please leave the rest to me. Saying this, Sora grinned. Sleep? But where? I mean, wherever. Are there any places to lie down or anything? I mean, there's an infirmary, right? In the sectors that were submerged in water, but unfortunately not in the dry areas. Instead, I've prepared another place for you. Another... place? Oh, wait a second, Sora. not saying that 4 people have to sleep in this cramped space. It was the place where I had seen the girl. What is this room, anyway? Let me explain. This is a decompression room for medical purposes. Here, people suffering from decompression sickness, or the bends, are treated. The bends? Yes. Normally, when people leave Limu, they spend an extended period of time going through decompression and adjusting from 6 atmospheres to 1 atmosphere. However, as a result of the accident, everyone has experienced a sudden change in pressure. You may be suffering from the bends. So, just to be safe, I want to have everyone undergo repressurization in this room. But there's nothing wrong with us. In cases of light decompression sickness, you're not necessarily aware of it immediately. There are cases where the pain doesn't start for a day or 2. After you figure out you're in trouble, it's too late? Correct. In other words, this is just to be completely safe. Hey, Sora, what about the, that thing in the infirmary? There's a device there to diagnose all kinds of illnesses, right? You mean the LMRI, perhaps? Yeah, that. If you do a scan with that, can't you tell right away if you've got decompression sickness? Unfortunately, no, we cannot. Why? As you saw before, that device is out of order. Discovering the problem and repairing it would take time and energy. Oh. Sora, can I ask you something? What? I want to know more about this decompression sickness. I see. Decompression sickness occurs when there is a sudden change in the surrounding air pressure and gas bubbles that can't be discharged accrue in the body. I wonder if one of the symptoms of decompression sickness is amnesia. That would be, like, really weird. That doesn't make any sense. But, like, maybe it does. I mean, I've certainly been burned in a past Let's Play about assuming things about medical conditions. So, maybe that's what's up. Maybe our protagonist had spent some time down below, and that's a result, or that's the cause of his amnesia. Gas becomes air bubbles, and those gather in tissues or veins. When gas bubbles remain inside the body, the oxygen respiration efficiency drops dramatically. So, no matter how many deep breaths you take, it feels like you're suffocating? Yes. So we will seal this room and pump it in a high concentration of oxygen, raising the level to approximately 3 atmospheres. Then, we slowly decompress you back down to 1 atmosphere. Using this difference in pressure, we dissolve the gas bubbles in your body back into your blood, where you get rid of them naturally by breathing. You mean you make us like a can of cola that won't blow up? Yes, precisely. Okay, I got it. The decompression process took place over several hours. But boy, it was cramped. I wondered where in the world Tagumi could have gone. And shouldn't Sora have been undergoing decompression as well? I was so tired that my mind and body felt numb, but strangely sleep didn't come for me. Takeshi had monopolized the bed. He was breathing deeply and peacefully. Sleeping so well in an emergency like that. You, Sarah, and I sat on the floor. I mean, if we go with my theory and this is all his fault, then it makes complete sense that he would be calm as a cucumber. I gradually got annoyed with Takeshi sleeping like a log. There were still 4 hours until the decompression was complete. The night was long. Does anyone have like a deck of cards or anything? I wondered how much time had passed since the pressurization had started. I noticed that the date had already changed. I waited on the hard floor for the treatment to finish. He was the only one of us. Jeez, he's so loud. Idiot. Nakyu, I can't sleep. At all. Takeshi's talking in his sleep echoed throughout the room. We were mentally drained and the 3 of us were in no state to sleep. No, it was worse than that. Gradually we had started to go mad. Why don't we just wake him up and tell him? It's no use. Snoring and talking in your sleep aren't something that people can control. We could tape his mouth shut. Or even better, we could drape a wet towel over his face. Wouldn't that kill him? Yeah, you're right. So casual. Like, oh, yeah, that suggestion I just gave. That probably kills him, yes. Why is he the only one who gets to sleep on the bed? You let the bed have a swift kick as she said this. Oh, right there. Takeshi shamelessly carried on like that, looking happily asleep. I wonder what kind of dream he's having. Who knows? I bet it's something sexual, judging from his stupid expression. You reached out towards Takeshi's face and pinched his cheek. And then... You... Huh? Huh? It seems like he's talking in his sleep. He's not dreaming of you, is he? Stop that. There's no way. I mean, I was under the assumption that he was using the pronoun, but could go either way, right? Use body. Okay, never mind. Yeah. Hey, Takeshi, how dare you have dreams about me? She's way too rough. That's why she can't get a guy. Huh? What? I don't know what to make of this. Ow. You dummy. Hey, Takeshi, wake up! You had grabbed hold of Takeshi's collar. If we didn't stop her, she might have strangled him. Take it easy, Nakyu. He's just talking in his sleep. She's right. He probably doesn't mean anything by it. Probably not, anyway. Takeshi continued to blabber with a dumb, blissful look as he slept, oblivious to our troubles. I've had it. I have no choice but to... What are you going to do? You put her hand in her pocket and pulled out the marker from before. She popped the cap off the pen and prepared to... No, you're not going to... You bet I am. You're gonna chop his head off. Not with a pen! Watch this. This is what we'll do. As she said this, you took the pen and started drawing big round eyes, like a girl from a comic, on Takeshi's eyelids. Goes around, comes around. Take that. The masterpiece. Yeah, that's funny. Let me try, Nakyu. Scribble, scribble, scribble. Sarah sketched a whirlpool on Takeshi's cheek. Ninja! I'm laughing so hard my gut hurts. Hey, kid, why don't you draw something on this idiot? You'll feel loads better. Alright, let's see. Scribble, scribble, scribble. I drew meat on his forehead. And the three of us kept taking turns doing graffiti on his face. Scribble, scribble, scribble. Scribble, scribble, scribble. Scribble, scribble, scribble. Dozens of minutes later, Takeshi had been further transformed into a much decorated creature, miserable, disfigured, and hard to describe. And with the end of the night, I'm going to be closing this video. I will catch you all tomorrow, so have a lovely day. Peace.